Hello guys, let's react to this fat video. Seems very interesting.
Like fat influencers die more often than emo influencers, and that's really saying a lot.
Fat acceptance is a cult.
Just a reminder that
Yeah.
I am very fat and very sexy. And I am 100% glorifying obesity.
I want to inspire big girls all over the world. This is what I manifest.
This is what I manifest. These are the people, by the way, that are talking about how Stellar Blade has unrealistic proportions. These are the people that are shaming cosplay girls on Twitter.
Every single day.
Dead at 37.
Choo choo. Choo choo.
It's bad, bro. It's real bad.
I'm fat and I'm sexy.
I'm fat and I'm sexy.
Sure,
Keep saying it. Maybe one day it'll be true.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I don't know about you. I don't find any sexiness in contributing to the statistics that obesity is the leading cause of death in the US. Very
Well,
hot.
I mean, there's a lot of fat. Like, there's guys that like fat chicks for sure. Like, I mean, but that's not a lot. There's not a lot of them. There's a lot of guys that don't like fat chicks. There's probably more of them that do. Yeah.
I know.
Just because I'm fat, that doesn't invalidate the things that I say.
She died.
You ready to get supersized?
She died too.
Today I've got the big Fruit Loop.
He's dead. Join me.
Jesus, 33 and 37.
On my fat positive radio show.
I was expecting something different to happen with that share, and I am disappointed. Man.
Didn't last long because she died.
Unlike how Dove or the new wave
Yeah.
of Victoria's Secret wants you to believe, healthy beauty does not come at every size.
Well,
And
the reason why they do this is because, so you have to understand that there's a lot of these girls, and like, I think that women do this a lot. One of the sickest things that I think girls do is they like gassing up fat girls and making them feel good about themselves. But I think that the reason why is simply because they don't feel like they're in competition with these girls, so they can do it comfortably. That's the reason why. So they gas them up, and then they end up dying.
Bro. and they end up dying. It's a cruel world.
certainly not at a lot of the socially noble, body positive plus sizes. Yet it is absolutely not wholesome
Yet it is absolutely what?
to point that out. So much corporate glorification has been done to powder the fat elephant in the
I mean, this is just fetish shit, right? I mean, like, there's all kinds of weird shit like this. I wouldn't even really think much about this.
room. That obesity is in fact a disease, not a bragging point. But
Yeah.
corporations don't want you to get well because there's a gold mine in fatness. Not
Well,
just
yeah, think about how many McDonald's there are. There's
It's a fat mind there, you know. There is a lot of years until they die, unfortunately. Maybe because of the
so many McDonald's. Like, if there weren't any fat people, what would they do?
that would be sad video.
convincing you to shed it, but also for you to keep it. Take body positive all-star Dove for instance. Real beauty comes at every size. They stretch out their plastic.
Honestly, I think that Dove, if they want to make a fat label or like a fat product, they should call it Penguin. Because penguins waddle around a lot, they can't fly, and they just roll around on their belly. They should rename it.
Bottles and
But penguins are not fat, bro. They are just not flying, you know.
video game figures to slap on words like beautiful, sexy,
Oh, God. The other problem that I think a lot of these people have is that they have to like accurately or actively try to make it seem like it is comparable to being skinny. And I think that also one thing that you've noticed, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, is that with a lot of these like fat activists and fat influencers, 95% of them are women. And the reason why is that the whole fat acceptance movement is derived from fat women trying to psyop men into dating them. That's the entire thing. That's it. That's the whole thing. It's over.
Bro, what? You simplify the whole world in 3 words? No, I don't agree. Like, lack of a train from place A to place B means that somebody who engineer a train, that you built the train, and there would be a train from A to B. Accompanying the thought, every train has its passengers, you know?
Beautiful, sexy, confident whenever they can. Like every other human,
Yeah.
I wanted to believe that it was to support the self-love journey of women and leave it at that. But no, I decided to ruin my day and my trust in humanity by researching a bit more and found out that Dove is owned by Unilever. And guess what else Unilever owns? Ben & Jerry's.
So you call this in business, you call this vertical integration. And if they fully want to go all the way, they need to buy a funeral home.
Ice cream, Magnum ice cream, and many other ice creams. Hellman's Mayo
They need to
and
get a mobility scooter business and then a funeral home business too.
all your greasy burgers, Skippy peanut butter, a selection of frozen foods. I
Right.
can go on. Isn't it nice to encourage your consumers to accept their enlarging body?
Wait. Is that who I think it is? Oh shit.
And deteriorating health as the ideal in order to sell more of your processed foods because their beautiful bodies deserve more. As body positivity, a movement intended to uplift women, become
It's all women. That's what it's all about. And also, by the way, there's no one. So you think that men hate women? There's no one who hates women more than other women.
Yeah, true.
Like if
I agree 1,000,000%.
you think that we're bad because like somebody makes a joke about like a chick being fat or something, these girls will like get in these group chats and it'll be like fucking 8 to 10 fucking hens pecking one hen to death. Like that's what it's like in these group chats. I've seen the fucking leaks, man. Like they're sitting there and they're like making fun of like the I didn't even know like they're bringing up things I didn't even know existed. You're talking about like eyebrow length, like the eye width, like like your nose bridge, like what the fuck? These are like those settings in video games. Like I don't even want to touch these.
Bro, analogy to video games with eyebrow length. Okay.
And they're getting down there in the weeds.
I agree, kind of, but it was a strange analogy.
just manipulative limits to our acceptable emotions.
Stop glorifying obesity. That's... Oh my god. I'm surprised she's not bigger, to be honest. She must exercise.
What about exercise?
That's what I do. It's what I live for.
And
so the reason why these fat influencers are very popular, this is another really important thing, is that the reason fat influencers are popular is because it creates a... let me think of a way to put this. It makes it to where fat people that are less fat than them can watch them eat food and feel better about themselves. So, you know, I've said before that fat people on average are more selfish and self-indulgent than, you know, the general.
So what do you mean? That there is a straight linear dependency of the how fat is the influencer and the amount of followers? Like the fatter the influencer, the more the followers, or what?
Population.
That would be interesting correlation.
Yeah, this is just, I mean, everybody, gluttony is a sin for a reason. And so anyway.
Okay, I think now is the moment that I might say that I had never problems with weight. My weight, I was never fat. But 1 year ago, I quit nicotine. And with the nicotine, it becomes a reality, one hunger, which the pretty much very good working strategy was to quit also carbohydrates and sugar, and I become a carnivore, eating only proteins and no carbohydrates or sugars. And since 1 year I feel it cannot be better. I drink my vitamins because I'm not I have to do some crazy things for supplying my body with the needed vitamins and nutrients. So I'm just not doing that crazy things like eating egg shells, and I just take my vitamins. Very in the beginning it was more intensive. Now it's rarer, in rare intervals, and yeah, I feel very good. I never imagined that it's even possible. Of course, there are two in a matter of 1 week difference. I quit the nicotine and the carbohydrates, and I feel good also because of lack of nicotine. I was using nicotine for like 17 years. Yeah, so I was eating sugars and sweets and all these things, pizza, Coca-Cola. I never had a problem with my weight. But now I'm happy with this diet. I don't think it's really a diet because as many influencers are saying, a million years ago, even tens of thousands of years ago, humans were not having all these processed foods. They were not having carbohydrates in their diet. They were having meat and eggs and proteins. That was the base of the food they were consuming, and they were living more than the average person here, and more than the average person on the pixels of this video, I guess. The fat ones, I guess.
Anyway, we know that, everybody knows that. The only people that don't know that, we know who they are. And so anyway, the reason why these fat influencers are popular is because it's a way for people that are fat but not as fat as them, and they aren't eating as much food as them, to watch them eat food while they're eating food, but they're eating a little bit less food than the fat influencer is eating, so they feel better about themselves. It's basically like the second fattest kid in the class knowing and having a good self-image because he knows that there's one more kid that's even fatter than he is. That's how.
Yeah, but that's wrong. I mean, I don't.
It works.
I don't think so.
A cover for big food, big farming, and big pharmaceutical companies to profit off a nation of increasingly sick and fat people. None of this is a coincidence.
So the industry has engineered what they call the bliss point for the perfect amount of sugar in products, not too little, not too much, working on maximizing the allure of their products.
Quote, "We like them fat." Pick any ultra processed foods at your local grocery store, for example. Some Kraft mac and cheese and Nestle drumstick paired with some Kit Kat, Coffee Crisp, Smarties, and why not throw in some Laffy Taffy? Pop in the Kool-Aid and 4 cans of Dr. Pepper to keep hydrated. Oh, and can't forget the Oreo and Chips Ahoy. 4 cans.
Great, that sounds like a really good breakfast.
Orange Fanta for the vitamins. Fanta. Balance, as one may say. As conventional beauty standards have become much more accepting and ambiguously defined.
They're not more accepting and they're not ambiguously defined. This is marketing for women to women. It doesn't matter how many fat chicks you show in a bikini, it's not going to psyop a guy into liking them. That's not how it works. They're marketing to fat women. Yeah, they're marketing to them. They're farming them.
By beauty giants. But guess who owns the beauty?
I don't know what you mean by like them, but it might happen. I think maybe it might happen. The more of these images, the more there would be guys which are actually walking next to each other with this kind of individuals which are fat on the streets, because yeah, there are different kinds of liking, you know.
Farming them.
By beauty giants. But guess who owns the beauty giants? Conglomerates like Nestle, Unilever, who sell you anything from chocolate to ice cream to frozen foods, and that is when the Dove body soaps begin to make sense. Not saying that all body positive and fat acceptance campaigns are there to manipulate and trick you into increasing your body fat percentage without limits. And that is exactly
why else would you do it? What would be the other purpose besides that?
the issue. So much of the message comes actually from an
There is no conspiracy here, there is just a demand.
Extremely caring and helpful perspective to help remove the stigma around plus-size people. But also, so much fat glorification has been disguised as acceptance.
Oh my god!
And when the majority of your stakeholders need to make money from selling frozen pizzas and ice cream, the votes are not up to you. Hiding profit generating.
It's also, you think about it too, is like you can sell one Kit Kat to a skinny person a week. You can sell 6 Kit Kats to a fat person a day. That's a pretty easy decision, right? I mean, if you're in the business of selling Kit Kats, you know where you're getting. You know where you're getting your money.
Glorification under the term fat acceptance is genius in 2 ways. First, it plays on the sentiment of correcting social
All
injustice.
bodies are beach bodies? Yeah, there's seen plenty of whales on the beach.
In society. Yes, arguably so, the statistical likelihood of fat and obese people facing more difficulties in society, such as prejudices, is a lot higher. And the stigmatization in media.
People have a stigma towards being fat is because it's disgusting and unhealthy. That's the reason why they have a stigma to it. This isn't a stigma like race.
Bro, disgusting. I don't know. Unhealthy, yeah. I think it's undeniably unhealthy to have overweight. But disgusting, bro. These guys are happy. They are just eating. They don't. They are eat. I mean, it's kind of a. Is it disgusting if somebody smokes cigarettes and then dies from them? Is this guy disgusting? It's an addiction. It's like he's just too weak to take a decision to stop doing it. There is not enough reasons for him to stop doing it. It's like, is it this disgusting? I don't. It's the way they look is disgusting. guess it might be disgusting that if they are fat, they might be stinking more because there is more volume. They cannot take care of their bodies. I mean, but that's arguable. It might happen. There are guys which are fat and they take care of themselves, and there might happen there are guys which are skinny and they stink more. Guess what? You cannot make a generalization that fat is disgusting. For example, my grandmother, she was not skinny, but I never ever I don't know how she smells because she was never I never sense her. I mean, every body has some smelling, it depends on the human. I mean, you cannot say disgusting like this easily. Undeniably, you can say that's an average fat, it stinks more. Yeah.
Or, a person with a disability or something like that. That's it.
Brought unfair shaming to obese individuals, which should never be normalized. But glorifying obesity, the disease, as
I
conventional.
think it's very easy to understand the difference between shaming and attacking a person for being overweight and acknowledging that being overweight is not equal to a lifestyle of being thin. Like, there are some ways of living that are worse than others. So, like, for example, like, the way that I live is not very good in a lot of ways. And I would never want to say that, like, the way that I live is equivalent to the way that somebody else lives that's more healthy. But the problem is that these people are so self-indulgent and they have so little self-confidence that they need the entire world to shift and mold in a way that makes them feel good about being disgusting.
I don't agree completely. The word disgusting that Asmon is using.
No beauty hints at a moral superiority and makes anyone's opinions who differ morally shallow, regardless if fat is unhealthy or not. Second, a food company telling you that being fat is natural, which isn't, and awesome is not so convincing.
There's no waistline worry with Coke, This individual size bottle has no more calories than half a grapefruit.
When you can spot their profit motive from 50 miles away.
Coke is low in calories, too. Say now, don't you get any thinner.
A direct hard sell won't work here. But when a beauty or self-care company you never associate with frozen pizza casts someone plus size for a commercial, you get fired up with a sense of justice. Yeah, that is beautiful too. Don't get me wrong, overly restrictive beauty with models who are only Kate Moss level heroine chic is also problematic because, again, it is not healthy. But as much as
I think it's obviously a very big difference between you have somebody who's like I feel like really like any of these like anorexic Victoria's Secret models and stuff like that. I feel like that's just as weird and gross as being really fat. Like, these are like both unhealthy lifestyles, etc. And so there's like a spectrum where like I don't think every girl in like a modeling catalog or something should be like 100 pounds, right? Of course, I don't think anybody thinks that, except for probably girls that have like an eating disorder. But other than that, no, nobody thinks that. But there's a big difference between that and morbid obesity.
Many wish, the spectrum of healthy does not stretch over to obesity. It is amazing that women of all sizes are loving and accepting who they are, but genuine self-love and confidence comes from within, and not society telling you or some ads telling you that your size is also quote-unquote beautiful. What we're talking about here is not the opposite of fat shaming. For shaming someone for any reason is not acceptable behavior because it does not come from a place of genuine care, of wanting to help them be well.
I think that's what happens. Like 95% of like fat shaming is just somebody looking for an excuse to make fun of somebody else. That's it. They're not really trying to help you. They're not trying to do anything good. They're just being assholes. Like, that's true. Definitely. Chicken, thanks for the 10 gifted subs. I appreciate it. Thank you.
About the glorification of fat. disguised as acceptance.
Positivity is toxic because it pretends to be rooted in compassion and kindness. But in reality, it encourages women to engage in very destructive behaviors.
Do you remember what I said before about how like so many of people's values and the things that they promote are just simply ways for them to, signal their virtue and signal that they're a good person, and it's not actually about helping anyone other than themselves and making themselves feel better? This is another great example of that. This is a perfect example.
Just women to be obese, unhealthy, and be averse to personal responsibility and discipline.
If you think most body positivity campaigns are to help you love yourself, I'm sorry, honey.
Well,
Corporate America is a surfacely sweet but extremely cruel place.
It's like, how can you not see the problem? They have to see it and just not care. They have to just be like, well, we're gaining profit. Do you see how much this McDonald's is making? Put another one across the street.
There is nothing wrong with fat acceptance. Acceptance of reality is the first and most essential step to
Well, fat acceptance has to be also the acceptance that being fat isn't healthy. I mean, that's what I think.
Or any type
I
of
feel
progress.
like,
but
for
the
sure.
importance of what to do after accepting the reality is often neglected and never talked about. Telling fat people to keep eating the way that's not serving their health because they are beautiful is like telling an alcoholic to keep on drinking because they're fun. It's the easy.
Well, that's what people do, though. They do that all the time. And the reason why is because it makes them feel good. It makes people feel good to say how they're accepting of fat people, and it makes people feel bad to say that.
Okay, let me. I think there are so weird ways as President Trump and I think the whole world would agree that the consumer with the most buying power today is an American, average American. And yeah, guess what? There are astonishing amount of people, Americans including, which are just sitting on the table and they start from zero, from nothing. Now you ask, they start what? They start the business plan. And yeah, obviously we all know that the business plan has its goals, and these goals has the sub goals, and when one clever guy, well paid of course, breaks all this down, it goes through simple things like farming, general things like farming the hunger, for example. And guess what? It's astonishing that the Europe population and the Asia population and Africa, they are also fat people, but how much are they compared to America? I mean, I think if we make a deep research and we will conclude unavoidably that the difference is with times. It will be times more in America. Why, I may ask? Because they are having the buying power. I mean, they are having the benefits, the government, the social securities, I mean, so many things. They are victims there, and yeah, they need to be protected by their sharks, their business plan creators. And guess what? I mean, as we all know, they bet on things with low risk. What is the risk? If you put ingredients in one sugar bar that will make the person want more of these sugar bars. One ingredient. There are some knowably making you eat more. What is the risk for you? No risk. There are other guys which are doing the same. I mean, it's like farming fat. I think it's a low risk business. It's just there. The fat hand will just go and grab all these Snickers and okay, Snickers, whatever candy there. So we are speaking of victims of low risk business models. And that's scary because they die. If they don't realize there is an alternative, they just
that, oh, well, this isn't healthy. It's all about how somebody feels, and it's not about the person that they're trying to signal empathy towards. They don't care about that person at all. That's why they're okay of having this person kill themselves as long as it can make them feel good in the process.
And profitable thing to do.
Having a fat country makes us money.
But at the end of the day, it is irresponsible to push unhealthy, addictive behaviors to a greater extreme with the power of both brainwashing, quote-unquote self-love ads, and processed foods designed in a way that's addicting, easy to eat, and easy to repeat the eating pattern. It's not a simple good versus bad food, normal versus fat problem. It's a whole addictive pattern building trap.
I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. Everyone was so happy for me. I hated myself. I hated the way I looked. I hated why I exercised.
Naturally fat. Our daily
If you're naturally fat, why are there no uncontacted tribes that have naturally fat people there?
No, we go to the
Because
tribes.
If this is something that would occur in nature,
Don't go to the tribes, bro. We know that there are no fat people there, you know.
and we have all these uncontacted tribes, like the ones that are near Australia, none of
the Bushmans, you know.
those people are fat. So
They're not only fat, but they're living 120 years, and nobody noticed that, you know.
the only place that it's natural at is McDonald's. And so is that something that's because of nature, or is it because of McDonald's? I wonder.
trips to McDonald's genetics, is eating chips in bed genetics, is being allergic to the
Yeah, but the sad thing, do you know what the sad thing, Asmongold? That after this guy is born, after he or she being fat whole life, after he or she dies, there is, you know what's left? The records for the profit of the company, you know, through the years. I mean, the numbers are actually humans. That's the sadness. You can imagine this. I mean, it's like the growth of a company. You can measure it with human bodies. I mean, that's, and all this, it's also money. I mean, they should be from somewhere. So there should be another people which are involved in this process. Ones are victim by like being fat, then dying. And the others are victim by like supporting all these things with their labor. And but the trade-off is that the company stocks are rising, you know. through the years. And then what? And nobody remembers the worker which is working, you know, because it's natural. Who cares somebody's working, you know? And then nobody remembers the ones who died, because he died. I mean, there's nothing to remember if he is not Einstein or a president. But everyone cares about the company stock levels. No, that's the pity one. That's the sad one. And guess what? In the past 10 or 20 years, the company stock market prices rise. How much? Oh, this much. They doubled in 5 years. Oh, really? Let's buy some. What to buy? Dead bodies?
Gym Genetics is running 100 miles genetics. Back in a universe where fat just meant fat and not a compliment or insult, fat just means you have excess energy stored in your body that you are not using. Obesity or overweight is a disorder involving excessive body fat that increases the risk of health problems. Notice how something that elevates your risk of dying of cardiac arrest is a disorder and is not normal. Needless to say, glamorously framed as the modern sexiness.
Supersized, what does it say? Supersized salon Jamie Lopez dead. Last intense video and death cause shocking. It's shocking? To who? Who is it shocking to? I'm confused.
Yet times and times again, science and data say one thing, and media and advertising say another. Beauty is supposed to be diverse and natural, but there is nothing natural about being obese. Obesity prevalence was stably low until shooting up post the 70s, and even though there is no data evidently backing up its absence in our hunter and gatherer days, rare civilizations removed from modern processed foods and lifestyles such as—
Bro, she used the exact same example. Yeah, fucking exactly. Like, if you want to think this is natural, go look at an uncontacted tribe. That's going to tell you what's natural. They're not fat. Do you know why? Because it's not natural. Fucking exactly.
The Chimene tribe is a close modern case. The Chimene, a Bolivian population living in a subsistence lifestyle of hunting, gathering, fishing, and farming, had the lowest levels of coronary heart diseases reported to date and statistically insignificant obesity. And yes, they
what a surprise.
Also eat sugar and starchy carbs, just harvested by themselves. So do these people just have some God-sent fat-proof genetics? No. The overall Bolivian population that
it's gotta be some kind of fucking abstract, like, genetic problem. It can never just be you.
share similar genetics is still subject to 28 and 17% of obesity for women and men. So if they also eat carbs, fat, protein, just like the American diet, why are they rarely inflicted with fat-related health complications? Is all the difference really in the absence of food processing? According to CDC...
No, it's the difference. It's that they eat a lot of food, they don't exercise. See, somebody wants to blame that, like, oh, it's not my fault, it's processed food's fault. Well, when your body is a food processor, then maybe it's your fault.
Americans are eating more calories.
Bro, the way the food is processed, like highly processed food with, that's what she means.
Calories on average than they did in the 1970s. Between 1971 and 2000, the average man added 168 calories to his daily fare, while the average woman added 335 calories a day. What is driving this trend? Experts say it's a combination of increased availability, bigger portions, and more high-calorie foods, but
Jeez, that's a lot of chicken.
Bro, I loved, like, before years, I loved KFC. I mean, it was very good food, bro. Come on.
It's the devious design of processed foods to get people hooked as an addictive coping mechanism to rising psychological issues. Food addiction is a carefully designed process. People aren't
Why
stuffing
women triple men? The reason why I think is that I feel like there's probably a lot of different reasons. Honestly, it's probably not like one thing specifically.
their faces and beans when they're having
Who's
a
to
bad.
blame? Yeah, who's to blame? The people eating the food are to blame. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like I get that like some foods can be addictive and this is not good for people, and yeah, processed foods are bad. Sure, but if you're putting it in your mouth, you're the one that's at fault. You did it. You put it in your mouth, you started eating it. That's you. You did that wrong.
Day. Quote, foods that are very high in fat and carbohydrate in equal ratio don't exist naturally.
No, but that it's not about whose fault it is in a of course it's your fault that you are getting fat, but the problem is that the more food you eat, which has the business plan I was talking about, gaining money from you and from your body, the more you support that business, you know, the more you make the business plan a reality. And the more the business plan is a reality, the more the business plans like it there will be. And then you form the niche of business plans like this, like you and guess what, it's very natural this thing to happen in the country with the most buying power, because all these people which are vulnerable to these schemes and these traps, let's say, they should have the buying power to lower the risk. And guess what? Make a company, and the designer of that company, the designer of that business plan, he will make another one for sure, and then another one, and then another. After 10 years there will be many, and it's simply because of the success of the first one. So what we were missing as a society, I think we were missing the power of the regulatory, the power of the government, the group, the collective mind that needs to prevent the particular weak individual from this threat. Because who needs to protect the individual? Except, okay, the individual shall think of doing stupid things, but ultimately there should be somebody to put an order in these things. Yeah. I think it's there are ambiguous texts in the standard American diet even up to these days. So but it's quite a bigger topic than just simply this video. You just watch it.
Said Gerhardt, a clinical psychologist at the University of Michigan. It is something that is designed by food scientists in a laboratory to look a certain way, feel a certain way in your mouth, smell a certain way when you open the package. So once you had one pleasant experience with it, you want more, and you want it more often. Food
This is again what I was saying, is that these people lack self-control, and they engage in self-indulgence at a very high ratio that is unhealthy and destructive.
Is on the rise, and the conglomerates are normalizing it, or rather glamorizing the consequence of it.
Well, they're just capitalizing off of it. I think that really, if these companies, if being really thin was popular, these companies would just be making bullshit products that are supposed to make you lose weight. Like, you guys ever been to like a grocery store and you look at you know, the magazine rack, and every single month somehow
products that makes you lose weight. I mean, losing weight, it's so simple. You you just stop eating.
Dr. Oz has a new pill that helps women lose weight without exercising. How is it possible that there's a new one every single year, every single month? Well, I can tell you why. It's because people keep buying them. That's why. And so if it's just simply meeting a market expectation.
So much of the fat acceptance movement is actually a brainwashing ad for addictive junk food. And yes, excuse my language, for it is now politically incorrect to call food good or bad. And I agree. It's all based on perspective. Good for what and bad for what, and how much of good before it turns
The
not
only
so
people that have a problem with saying good food and bad food are people that are eating bad food. It's just how it is.
good. Because good versus bad is so subjective, it's easier than ever for food companies to manipulate the concept. Because the easier answer is always one that makes you feel good. To eat as much as you want and still feel great about yourself.
Get that fiber and the antioxidants and just feel.
And the greatest beneficiaries to glorifying this disease is the toxic triad of big farming, big food, and big pharma for creating.
That's right. So they get you making the food, then they get you selling you the food, and then they get you dying because you ate the food. That's the circle of life.
Nation of sick and fat people. Let me put it into context. About a third of our economy thrives on making people more fat and sick. Big farming grows 500 more calories per person per day than 25 years ago. Industrially processed foods with addictive combinations of fat, sugar, and salt deter the stop signals for eating. The sicker our population, the more medications are sold for high cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, and other lifestyle-driven diseases. While more and more of us believe not only is this okay,
My
this
thoughts on body positive. Jesus Christ.
type of sickness is sexy.
This was not, what? Oh my gosh! What's the? This thing will leave me a memory now. Oh my gosh, guys!
Jesus Christ!
Type of sickness is sexy and beautiful. And sadly, the profit-driven
I never planned to have this kind of a memory.
version of the fat acceptance movement targets women way more. Why do we see a range of plus-size models from mannequins in retail to Victoria's Secret fashion shows, while men's fashion still shows buff and toned models and plastic mannequins? Something does not add up. Perhaps it is because
The reason why also is because women are less looks oriented than men are. Like, for a lot of girls, this is what I've noticed, is that there's like a threshold for your attractiveness. So like if a guy is at least like a 5 or a 6, he can get with a girl that's, let's say, a 10 if he has a personality that's very positive and likable. Where it's like, obviously more attractive guys have advantages, but like there's much more of like a diminishing return for men than there is for women. And or money. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways that, there's a lot of ways that guys can be attractive to women, right? Whereas with women, I think that there's more of a focus on the way that they look. And that's the reason why more women get into fat acceptance. It's because it's in their best interest to push the narrative that being fat is normal, because they're fat and they want it to be normalized so they can date guys that they think are attractive. That's the reason why. The more
okay, let's just summarize. Maybe let me just try to summarize as because they care more.
You have the uglier you can be. I'm sure that's probably true to an extent. Like I don't know, but like I'm saying that like that's what I've noticed with a lot of girls.
of the preconceived notion that
What about
women
fat guys? I've seen a lot more pretty girls with fat guys than I've seen attractive guys that are in shape with fat girlfriends. That's just the truth. I've seen a whole lot of that.
Hear more about appearances, or that many women still take the main responsibility for shopping for food for the whole household, which drives
Yeah, that's
more
probably a good point.
impact
That's
in
good. I didn't think
speeding
about
up
that.
the fattening of the
Yeah.
population, leading
Jesus Christ, bro. Like, you think about this. This is just like, you can tell this is a hog family, right? Because, like, they overfilled this plate so much that she's going to spill beans and shit on this sofa. 100% probability. Like, this is just gross. Like, it is nasty. It's so bad. I do think that if you have a kid and your kid is morbidly obese, which is like 100 pounds over being obese, I think that's child abuse. Now, I mean, if your kid's a little bit pudgy or chubby, that's not really a big deal. But if
I can agree. Actually, there are a couple of problems that I see as a parent here. The first, why this kid is eating there. Second, why on the sofa. Second, why she's eating in this position, like she can even die from these little beans. And then we can start with the amount of food, and as you said, it's gross, it's spilled.
if they're morbidly obese, that's child abuse.
to more sickness. The spiral itself, from farming to food processing
Yeah.
to solving a naturally increasing problem,
Naturally.
is just bleak and sickening. Self-acceptance is not the opposite from self-improvement, and is certainly not the logical reason to
Well,
reject.
I think you have to accept yourself. Like, this is the thing, is that, like, for me, for example, when I was like, I was having problems with my blood pressure and it was high. And so what I did is I changed what I was eating and I exercised more. And by doing that, and I made a couple of other lifestyle changes, like, you know, trying to, like, consciously not be as stressed out. And well, yeah, of course, because it went down. I went to the doctor. It went down by, like, 50 points or something like that. And how is it now? I haven't been for a while, but I feel fine, and that's it. And so stress is a killer. It is. But the fact is that, you know, everybody can solve this problem themselves. All they have to do is take accountability for it. I think that the moment that you displace accountability to something that you can't control is the moment that you've decided to not solve the problem. So, like, if your problem is socioeconomic, if your problem is because of X or Y thing that you don't have control over, you've already decided subconsciously that you're not looking to solve this problem at all.
Generate 90% of your cells. Frozen pizzas, chocolates, chips, and whatever genius foods corporations created to keep you addicted and sick. Part of loving yourself is to actually take accountability for
Yeah.
your well-being instead of letting profit-seeking commercials.
Yeah, and you have to accept what you are. It's like, for example, like, I would always tell
I don't know the word accountability. Is it appropriate here? You have to admit that there is a problem. If you don't admit there is a problem, you cannot work on a solution. If you don't have a problem, why do you need a solution? It's quite obvious. It's so easy. So if the fat woman is not defining a problem, she is fat, she doesn't need a solution. She needs the food.
myself, oh, well, I don't really have enough time to exercise because I'm always busy. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I do. I don't make it a priority. That's all. I don't make it a priority, and that's it. And
why? You don't need that solution. You don't have a problem which needs exercising. You know? Don't admit yourself. It's a problem. As I said years ago, I admit myself that nicotine is a problem. And I get rid of it. Never even think of coming back. I was using it for 17 years. I don't know. Will I go back to carbohydrates and sugars? I tried to to address the hunger after stopping nicotine. And I managed to address it. I didn't get fat. But now I'm not sure will I go back to sugar and carbohydrates. I'm really. There should be something to drive me there. I don't know.
And if you can't admit that, you're gonna be fat, or you're going to be unhealthy, and that's it.
Tell you that you are enough. Being positive does not mean being unrealistic. It requires the courage to face the discomfort of broken delusions and be willing to make changes if needed.
Body positivity movement has now resulted in magazine covers that actually says this is healthy. The lifestyle of being obese is now not only beautiful, but it's healthy.
Glorifying a disease is not self-love. It's delusion.
Well, it's not even just delusion. It's something that's damaging to the people that are reading it. I feel like
that's just like advertising in advertising cigarettes. It's kind of is it a crime to advertise cigarettes? It's advertisement, you know. Yeah, there are countries where there are big stickers that bad things will happen to you, to your brain, to your heart, to your everything. Yeah, you die, whatever, if you smoke. And then there is advertisement. But guess what? There were years without them, yeah?
If it was just delusional, it wouldn't really matter. But these people are actively pushing a psyop to young girls to make them think that something that they're doing that's bad is actually good. That's the issue. It's malice. Yeah, it's self-indulgent malice.
Have any health problems? Always out of.
I was just saying that it's not only not only that. I mean, what about having this kind of a fat endorsing fatness, let's say, in some posters and things, and then with small words like for the cigarettes, for the nicotine. What if we make a small text on the fat picture with the lady with the underwear for fat ladies, like it to be written, fatness makes your heart weak and then you die. Because that's the reality. I mean, it's because on the advertisement for cigarettes nowadays we just right there, you can die from a heart disease very easily. You can die from this. You can, your lungs will. What if there are advertisements with fat ladies and materials from the companies which are endorsing this, but with small letters to be written? Being fat, being overweight, obese, higher you the chance, makes you have higher chances for heart disease, strokes, whatever. I guess there are a couple of things that are impacting these individuals to death. But who needs to? Let's bring the text there as for the nicotine. For the nicotine, there is a demand from the government. If you make an advertisement, that's my proposal.
Breath and it's hard to do things, but that's because of fat phobia. The doctor's not listening to me. It has nothing to do with the fact that my fupa restricts my movement.
And despite how impossible it seems, what you do after acceptance is still your choice to make. That's a food for thought.
I feel like this has been something that's been going on for a while.
One I can see very interesting is the way this lady is flexing her body exactly in this video. It's interesting because I think this topic is kind of sad. I mean, as Asmongold said, there is nobody to hate more fat woman than another woman, or like there is. He said it good. I think the whole thing with these fat business cases, it's sad. It's actually it's a unreasonable branch of the world's evolution, of the society's evolution. It's so wild, like a jungle branch. That's what it is. And I guess one day there would be reminders, even on the little sugar bar, then that you can die from this thing, you know. Or it might happen to affect your body negatively. Same thing as the cigarettes, as the nicotine. Thank you, guys. Let's see the end of this video.
Like I figured I'd watch this. It just got recommended to me or some shit, and so I was gonna watch it. You're gonna motivate and inspire a lot of people. Well, it's very simple on how to solve this, right? Is you have to take accountability for it, and I think that the big problem that a lot of people like this have is that they never actually take accountability for the things that they're doing, and they always blame the problems they have on something that's unrelated to them. So basically, it's the same as like, well, why can't I do something? Well, I'm not lucky. I'm not like X, Y, or Z. Now, and also, if you show these people somebody else who is in their position or a position that's worse than them that still was able to do it, they're just going to get mad at you. Because ultimately, they're not looking for a reason. They're looking for an excuse. And that's it. You played through Wuthering Wave Patch? Not yet. No, I haven't. And she has to eat more. She needs to eat more, though? No, I don't know about that. I think she's fine, right? I mean, that's not really... no, I feel like there are some people that are so psyoped by, like, being fat that they see somebody who is just at a healthy weight, and they're like, whoa, wow. Whoa, what's going on? Like, that's the way it works. Yeah, it's nuts. Perfectly fine. Yeah, she was fine. And so anyway, I don't like, as I said before, I don't like making a lot of comments on women's appearance just in general, but like, yeah, I mean, she's a healthy weight for sure. And I've had this happen a lot for me, right? Is that like growing up especially, I always had people making fun of me for being skinny. And I always found it to be very annoying. I didn't like that at all. She looks normal. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why people struggle to lose weight, just eat healthy and work out. Well, it's because they don't want to. That's the reason why. And the problem is that a lot of people like to use excuses for things and blame them on something that's not themselves, because that's something that is easy for them to do. They can just simply say, well, it's because of this or that or this other thing that I don't have any control over, and then they can feel good about it rather than actually taking accountability for themselves. And I think that's really why it's so popular, and that's why there's so many people that are getting into it. See dislike numbers? No, it's very, very low. I mean, most people agree with this, right? And but if a child's developing the addiction, then later he cannot stop, how can you say that's his fault? What do you mean he can't stop? People stop with addiction all the time. There's people that get over heroin. People get over heroin. People get over crack. This guy can't get over McDonald's. Grow the fuck up. Take accountability for yourself. Make a situation. Make a plan. Execute the plan.
That's the caps lock.
And solve the problem. And if you can't, then you're gonna fucking die.
The ultimate reality.
That's it. Yeah, it's harder, but not impossible. Yeah, I mean, like, everybody is gonna...
You'll just become some digits in a spreadsheet, in a database table. From year 2025 to year 2030, the company growth is 100%. And you will be part of it.
have there's going to be disadvantages and like you know, setbacks that everybody has. Everybody has setbacks. Everybody has things where it's like, oh well, this isn't necessarily ideal for me. But you know, at the end of the day, people can take advantage of things if they want to, right? People always say these foods are on the level of these drugs, so it's probably not easy. People are always saying how these foods are on the level of those drugs. You know who's saying that food is on the same level as heroin? Somebody who's addicted to eating food. That's the reason. So, of course, to them, it's the same as heroin, because if you say...
Actually, I have one proposal here. I have a proposal. So, all these guys, I think there should be in the future a product to try to address these kind of things. If something affects a guy, so for example, the more food, I think we're quite there. I mean, we have quite tracking who's buying what from the shop. Why not? There is a product which is with each sugar bar you buy from the store, you're having a small piece from the company, like a percentage from the company, and then when you die, you can have a, if you have some generation, if you have kids, they might get your contribution. I mean, they might be part of the whole business. Like, why not? With every bar, how complicated is that? It's not so complicated. It's easy. The developers will just make it like it's quite easy. I think it's reasonable, especially if we're not planning to try to do anything else. I mean, at least when this guy, when some guy dies from the fatness and the heart disease, and he will leave to her kids a small piece as a contribution from her life to the generation. And yeah, the company will earn a bit less from the, because I think most of these fat guys which are eating the sugars, they know that they know what's happening. And it's not fair for them to just eat the sugar bars, you know, to just eat the pizza. It's not. They deserve more. They are the main actors in the whole thing. I mean, why not? How hard it would be. With buying 100 bars to give you one stock action from company stocks. I can imagine a product which is very cheap in these days to be rolled out as a developer. Yeah.
That makes you feel better about the fact that you can't stop eating food.
Yeah, very nice video. Goodbye, guys. See you in the next one.